What up, boys and girls? We are live on. I think have we had any other 14 gamer slates this season?
I don't think so. I
I
know we've
think this
had
is
13, but I think this is 14.
We've had a few 13s, but I think this is the first sport teamer of the season. So, and boy, oh boy, is pitching ownership off its fucking rocker, man. Like Smitty and I were just talking about this before the show started. Like, it's a 14 game slate, and you have Sale right now at 50% and Rodon at 44% on average. Like, and that's if you go just check around, you know, you're going to see everywhere from high 30s to low 50s, just depending upon where you look. That is a wild, wild number, Smitty, on a 14 game slate.
Yeah, it's insane. I don't really understand it at all.
So, right. And Sales 11 can. It's not like Sales, like, listen, if Sale was $9,800, I would, right. I could at least wrap my head around it a little more, right? I could be like, okay, he's $9,800. Like, I kind of get it, like, okay, that makes sense to me, but it's not. And the Nats have the lowest K rate on the slate. Like, they don't strike out versus lefties. And I get Sale has been Sale again, but there's zero chance I will have him in my 3 max pool at this ownership and that price. Like, just zero.
Yeah, I'm not real. I mean, he looks fine. I'm not really interested, given the circumstances. I have 12% right now. I thought about just unchecking both him and Rodon, but I haven't yet. I'm just way under the field.
Yep. And then, at least, Rodon gets a little better K rate, right? Like, at least the Rockies K gets lefty somewhat. But if you ever listen to me, you know how I feel about Carlos. So again, those two projections on ownership that they can kick rocks and go down the road.
Yeah, I agree.
So, I mean, I just can't I just can't wrap my head around it. I'm not too often that you guys are going to hear, see me sit here and just be like, again, it's a 14 game slate. 14. There's 28 starting pitchers, for crying out loud. So, well, let's get to some guys who want to play, right? Right. If you're spinning up, why would you not go pitch Castillo against the Giants in that K rate? Like, that's, they've been striking out a ton. And then on the cheap side and the opposite side of that game, Birdsong gets the Mariners, who all they do is strike out.
Yeah, those are my 2 highest exposed pitchers right now. I like that game for pitching. Castillo's my top pay up, and Birdsong's my favorite value pitcher.
Yeah, I mean that's I'll be shocked if I don't stack that for my SE. Like, I'll be super surprised. They got a little ownership, right? I think that's going to have to adjust. You going to do any Bybee? You got to pay up for any Tanner versus Texas?
I liked him originally, but the more I look at the slate, I just kind of think that I think value pitchers are the way to go almost. On this big of a slate, I think you're going to need to pay up for bats. So I'm finding myself more on the cheaper pitchers.
Yep. Evaldi, same thing on the other side. The only thing I like is they got Hamari, is umping in that game, who's a great pitcher's ump. But other than that, like, again, there's just so many spots to go here today. Right. Like, so let's talk. That's where I'm at. So, I'm not going to Bassett against the Angels. Like, I like my pay down spot. Like, and I'm for sure not going Hunter versus to O's. My pay down spot. So I like Montero, right? Give me a little Kiter. It's the Sox, man. Right. Like, dollar for dollar, it's one of the best values on the slate. I'm going to get down there. As I look a little more, I'll probably get some Ryan Nelson at 6,700. They got him adjusted, man. The kid's got a good arm. I'll probably get some Nelson in at that 6,700. I don't hate a little Festa versus the Cards. I mean, JP, this is the one I don't get. JP Sears is $8,300 versus the Brewers today. That's the one I can't really wrap my head around.
Yeah, that one's strange. Yeah, you pretty much said it. Birdsong, Montero, Savali, and I kind of like
Right.
Bobby Miller a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate Miller versus them, right? Like right? If he gets back, right, the kid's electric. But again, I like Ryan Nelson, versus the Red Sox. They K a ton against righties. I don't one I can't figure out because he's priced where I'm like on is Musgrove, right? Like, what do I do with Joe, right? Like, again, if I'm playing GPP, I'm definitely getting some exposure. And again, he's only $8,200, but there's just other spots I really like today.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of stuck on the Birdsong Montero. I kind of like the pairing for like a single entry and then just jam some high price bats.
Yep. And right again, if you're gonna go in that middle, like I'm going, I'm definitely going like like for me, Musgrove over at that price range, right? I'm going Musgrove over Sears, right? I'm going Musgrove over Bybee, right? I'm going Musgrove over Waka, right? Like in that price spot. Definitely over Evaldi because Cleveland doesn't K. Again, you can drop down, right? Do I really want to pay like Ty Alexander's $7,900 versus the fucking Dodgers? like I feel like an intern did pricing today and they just didn't let the models do it. Like I really feel like an intern did pricing today.
Yep.
Like I would probably bet a little money on that. So all right. Well, before we get into hitting, right, and we go there, I have to ask for the betting community out there. Have you been on Twitter the last 24 to 36 hours, Smitty?
A little bit.
Are you aware of Walking Gate? Have you seen the whole Walking Gate going on with two female content creators in the betting space
Yeah.
and the war that has ensued? It has been one of the most entertaining timelines I have read on Twitter in recent memory. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I do a lot with Bet Openly. I've personally said, I think they need to lay it out on the field. I think they should be going head to head, fading each other's bets. Let them go at it, and may the best woman win. That's what I want to see at this point, right? I want to see a head to head matchup, right? Like, and if they land on the same thing, it's off the board. But, if they're on the other sides of them, let's see I want to see who's putting out the best bets.
Yeah.
But man, go read some of the threads. It is a wildly entertaining thing to read. So I feel like we're going to get shamed for not walking while we're doing the show today.
Yeah. Need to start walking.
Yeah. So, but I've got a kick out of it. All right. Well, let's go look at some ownership projections and see where we're landing today. I am kind of bummed they just didn't move back the Pittsburgh Cincy game and just put them all on the main slate. Like at that point, right? Like, just put them all there.
Yep.
So, all right. We're getting a decent amount of lineups. All right, let's start looking at ownership. All right. Yeah, it's pretty spread out. Kind of what you should see on this big a slate, right? Nothing really concentrated right now. Interesting projections for the Rays. Man, that price, it's the price, right? That price per dollar. Man, they sure fill in a lot of spots. Kind of who I expected to see up top. So let me go get over to the lineups and let's start breaking these bats down. All right, main slate. All right, we got an 8.5 total in the Astros O's game. I'm torn there on what to do. Again, if I was playing GPP, I'd definitely have some exposure. I'm indifferent for single entry for this game.
Yeah, I have minimal exposure. I think the Astros look fine, but not really either team being a priority for me.
Yep. Rockies, Yankees. The total's only 8 in this game, guys. Run a 1-off or a 2-off bats with some of the Rockies if Rondon's ownership stays this high. It's just game theory, right? Up top, you got Doyle, Toglia. I don't hate a little cheap Jordan Beck at $2,900. You can even, they got Skunk up now. So, and then the other side, right? Judge is just fucking on fire. Like, and you're paying for him, but like, at one point, right? Like, if he's getting you 14 points, but you're paying 7K, he's not killing it for you, right? Like, but at the same time, he could go rip 30 off any night at the blink of the eye at this point, and he gets to face Freeland to start.
Yeah.
So, right, like, I imagine Judgy's going to have a little bit of ownership today.
Yeah, I could see that. I figure the Yankees might get some steam in smaller field contests, but I think they look pretty good. Any team facing the Rockies is always in play. But as far as the Rockies, I have a little bit of Rockies, mainly just to counter some of the Rodon chalk.
Yeah. The Jays have lit up the Angels. I'm just going to fade it at this point. Like, the total's 8.5. It's just there's too many other hitting spots I like tonight. And again, GPP I'd have exposure, 20 max I'd have exposure, but I'm not really interested in that game tonight.
Yeah, I'm not in love with it either. I could kind of see the Yankees, Blue Jays being somewhat of a popular pairing just because the Blue Jays are cheap. So I'm fine with getting off that game.
I think for sure you will see like Wagner, Barger, Baroa with like Soto, Judge combos, right? Like I'd actually like bet money, right? Like especially single entry 3 max, like that's something we're definitely going to see a good little chunk of as we go through. Working our way down. I like Ryan Nelson versus the Sox tonight. Sign me up there. They made some adjustments for him. I like his K upside. I'm not going crazy, but again, it's there. And I'm indifferent. I enjoyed a $2,500 Del Castillo. He's $4,500 now, so it takes all the fun out of it.
Yeah, I agree. I like the Diamondbacks, but they're somewhat expensive. But overall, they're still one of my favorite stacks on the slate.
Are they?
Well, on a 14 gamer, I mean, I'm about. Let's see how many 5-mans I have. I have 12 lineups with them as a 5-man, so
okay, all right,
about average.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you an interesting spot tonight. I think when we're looking at some of the stuff I like. So some will be a little chalky, some of it won't. Again, the total's 7 in the Rangers Guardians. I don't think we're going to get an insane amount of Ks, so it's not worth paying up pitching wise. And on this big a slate, I'm not messing with a total of 7 in a game.
No, I don't really like the game. I think you can get to either in GPPs, but it's not really a priority.
All right, here's my gross flag pile of the night that I'm gonna try to figure out how to get exposure to. I want some Marlins versus Old Man Hendricks, man. like I get it. They're so cheap, and they're the pivot off of Tampa and Toronto cheap. Everybody's gonna be on Toronto and Tampa for the cheap. I think the Marlins are a really cool spot to go, cheap wise, right? Like I think that's an interesting spot, right? Bride's only $3,500 at first base. You can punt Connor at second or third for $3,000. Edwards up top's only 4,300. And then all you got to do, the only person in the lineup you got to pay for is Berger. So, right, like that, and Edwards, I guess, but like, it's gross. I don't think anybody's going to play him. I think it's a good way to get weird tonight.
Yeah, I like that. They're cheap. I didn't even realize that Berger's literally the only one over 4K besides Edwards. So they're really easy to fit in.
Yeah, like I just think everybody's going to go Toronto, Tampa Bay. Like I just think that's the spot everybody's going to attack for the cheap bats. And so this, like for me, this gives me a different spot to get a little weird. Hard to not like the Braves versus Mackenzie Gore. Even though the total is only 7.5 in that game, right? Like, love me Soler tonight below 5K. I'd even run Soler as a one-off. Murphy's still too cheap at 3,700. I like Arcia down at the bottom even, but I like the Braves today.
Yeah, the Braves look good. They're cheap. Their top 5 hitters, you can fit them in pretty easily with whatever you want. And Mackenzie Gore, I used to like him, but I think he's hurt. right now. He's got to be.
Yeah, I mean he's just something's not right there. And again, this a little leverage on the other side of the game, guys. You know, play a bat or two out of the Nats if you want. Alex Call up top at $3,500 is a spot. You can go a little Vargas at third. Again, I just want to, again, if he's going to be 50%, I want a couple bats on principle.
Yeah, I agree. I got some of their top 4 hitters. No Abrams today, but their top 4 hitters are really cheap.
Yep. So, what are you going to do with Yankee or Cardinals Twins today?
I like the Twin side. Not like a ton, but I think Wallner looks pretty good batting cleanup at 4K, and I like Willie Castro.
Like I'll sneak peek it now. Wallner's going yard today. He's my moonshot man. I'm
Like
fourth cleanup 4K. Like I will definitely, if I don't stack them, I'll probably have some Wallner as a one off. I'm the same boat. We just got the Philly lineup. Let's see what we got. Kind of what to expect, right? Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Baum, Nicky, Stott, right? Yeah, JT 7th. I like the total in that game. I'm not sure how I want to play that game yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I like the total in it, but when building lineups, I'm getting very minimal to both teams.
Yeah, and right, do I end with right, like, and does it end, the total's 9, does it end 4-4 and it just doesn't really pay off, right? Like, I definitely think that could be a spot to, get interesting tonight. With as far as that goes. Like we talked about in the Tiger Sox, I like Montero to punt. The Green's getting going, Carpenter's getting going, coming back. Again, the top half of that Tigers lineup is really cheap. Hard not to play them. And, they got I think we'll see Keith batting 5th. I like having that lefty bat there. So I don't mind a little Tigers tonight.
Yeah, the Tigers have been pretty good lately, so I definitely don't mind going there. They have good total. They're facing a bad bullpen. I think they look pretty solid.
What I want to throw some Padres against Blackburn. He looked broke last game. Like, he just looked so bad. Like, I want to throw some Padres in there. And I kind of like Musgrove versus the Mets, as hot as they've been. I don't know. I feel like, because the total's 7.5. I feel like that could be an interesting spot.
Yeah, I think I lean pitching more, or not really Blackburn, but I lean Musgrove more. I don't really care to target the Mets.
Yep. No, I get that side of it. It's just a, again, interesting spot for me tonight with how they're going to line that up, how they're going to load that out. I'm not interested in the Brewers A's bats at all.
No, me neither.
The A's are ice cold right now, like, just absolutely ice cold. So I'm good with, like, passing there. What they want to do, where they want to go. So kind of looking at some of my stuff here. Don't forget about Laureano in Atlanta. He's kind of due. I think Taylor Walls at $2,300 is going to get a bunch of steam tonight. I'm kind of looking at some players off. Yeah, I just think that Toronto stat but those names I mentioned, I think they're just going to get massively steamed. If they don't, I'll probably play some of them. It all depends on where they land ownership. But if I can get that cheap Toronto side, I might go after it there. So Giants Mariners, you heard us talk. I'm going pitching in this game. I don't hate stacking the pitching in this game. I think if you want to pay up for a pitcher, that's a cool spot to do. But again, Smitty said it earlier, I'm the same boat. I'm probably paying down for both my pitchers today.
Yep, that's where I'm at too. I'm not really touching this game for offense.
Love me some Dodgers tonight. I hate how expensive they are, but that's where, like, I started messing with, like, some Dodgers Miami, right? Like, started filling that in, and it was like, okay, right, if I punt it pitching, I use some Miami, some Toronto in there, I can get the Dodgers big bats, like, and I like that side of the game tonight.
Yeah, I do too. I think the Rays are fine for value, but I like the Dodgers here. Will Smith's probably one of my favorite bats on the slate. And then really it's just their top five, and plus Lux if he's in the lineup.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do. They might give him the night off against the
Yeah.
lefty. So, and then Bobby's given up a few long balls. So I think the Tampa. That's what I said. I think Tampa's going to get a little steam there. Because Yandy, right? Yandy's going to be batting lead off. He's below 4K, and they're going to project well. I just think. I just don't think I'm going to go to the Rays. I think I'm going to fade the ownership that I think we'll see there.
Yeah, I like that.
So let's go take one last look at some ownership since it's such a big slate. Yeah, like it's really spread out today. I like that. Nobody's too far ahead. I think we're going to see a little bit of Royals maybe get steamed up in single entry. I think we could possibly see some of that, but man, this ownership is just banana land in pitching. I just can't wrap my head around it.
Yeah, I like mixing and matching these mid tier to cheap pitchers. I just think more than likely with 28 pitchers, two of them, even the mid range, could outscore Sale and Rodon. So
right, yeah,
that.
Yeah, at price per dollar, right? Like at 11K, I mean, Sale's got to go off, right? What if Sale only gets you, right, like 6 innings and 7 Ks at $11,000? You're dead. Like you just didn't get enough out of him at that. So, all right, you heard me. I got another little sneaky moonshot I like too. I'll give it another long shot, but I love me some Wallner tonight. Who else you on?
I'm going for Will Smith tonight.
All right. Solaire's going yard. So get right. That's a little chalky. And then the small one, I think I wouldn't be shocked to see a little Riley Green today.
Yeah, I like that too.
Like a little Riley in there. So and I think there's some decent value on that. Awesome. Well, boys and girls, we know we're about to lose you. College football starts tomorrow. NFL in less than 2 weeks now. Technically, we get our first game of the season. So enjoy the last little bit of the dog days of summer before Labor Day and the start of the season, and let's go make some bankroll for NFL.
Let's do it.